gentlemen, please take your seats. Please take your seats. Now entering the stage, he has returned from his fortress of solitude for one night only. A man who needs no introduction, but he'll give himself an over-the-top one anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for being here. Have a seat. You look fabulous. I'm Chris Cashman. When you're having a movie, when you're having a superhero theme, it just helps to have somebody with man already in the last name. I've got the Batman cape on. Do you have your capes yet? Have you found yours? This is the only one I had back from the dry cleaner. They're on the back of all of your seats. Those aren't for decoration only. Those are for you. You get to take those home here tonight because this is officially the 16th annual Dinner of Champions and Heroes, and that's you guys, heroes here in the room. So take your cape off your chair, make sure you put it on, because I could point out that one advantage of having these is that if you flip them around, they are bibs. So for you sloppy eaters, you have a superhero bib. Go ahead and throw that on. We do want to thank Ron and Andy Mayers for these capes. We have a friend in the cape business. Ron and Andy, thank you so much. They provided these for all of you, and you do get to take those home. So if you got little ones at home, you're already going to be a hero. Now, we're here to have some fun tonight, but we're here for a very serious reason. And we all have the capacity to be a superhero, like a real one, an actual real-life superhero. Not the kinds that you dreamed about when you were a kid. In grade school, I thought I was one because my parents called me the procrastinator. It took until junior high for me to know what that meant. Then they called me the jaywalker. The law caught up with me, I worked it off, and now we're here. We're talking about real-life superheroes. Many of you are here with us in the room. Maybe you didn't even know that here tonight. It's true. Here's how you tap into it. Your unique power, you exploit it for the greater good, whatever it might be. The cape, the masks, these are fun. Those are optional accessories for the evening, but kindness, generosity, those are essential for making tonight successful. And we're going to make it successful with your help. Tonight, your superpowers will help the National MS Society break through MS. That's what we're doing here tonight. We're going to finally break through. If we're thinking of superheroes, think of the Hulk. Nothing stopped him. He would just crash right through. And we're going to embrace that mentality tonight as we get one step closer to ending MS. That's what we're here for. Believe it or not, since this event began back in 2002, we've raised nearly $12 million for people affected by MS. That's you. Round of applause for you. You're the heroes. That's what we're talking about. Now, much like the Justice League, ask your kids, they're superheroes, they team up together. Much like the Justice League, we're going to be more powerful when we team up here tonight, when we unite here. Now, we're going to need all kinds of different superheroes, not just the obvious ones with the capes, if we want to break through MS, and that's why we're here. For example, the superhero researchers, the scientists who helped bring the first ever FDA-approved drug for primary progressive MS to the market. That just happened. It's very exciting. It's for real. This is a tremendous breakthrough. It's going to lead the way for more discoveries for people with progressive MS. We also need the superhero who decides to be courageous and reveal their MS diagnosis to their friends for the first time. Perhaps some of you here. We need the superhero students who's taking care of a parent or a loved one with MS and at the same time trying to apply for scholarships. We need, of course, the superhero family who's going to ignite monumental change for people living with MS by matching every dollar for dollar tonight that you donate up to $200,000. That family's here. The other Incredibles, they're here. We're going to talk about them in a minute. Now, to break through MS, we're going to need each and every one of you here in the room tonight. You get to be superheroes. You've got the capes. You already look the part. Now, when you raise your paddle tonight and you give generously, you're going to be using that superpower, the power of giving from the heart for the greater good. That's going to provide that cutting-edge research, the college scholarships and services to help everyone affected by MS. We're going to do a great thing tonight. And we couldn't be more pleased to honor two people who are superheroes for the MS movement. The Spirit Award. That recognizes a person living with multiple sclerosis who encourages, who inspires others to support the vision of the National MS Society. That vision, a world free of MS. And we're one step closer. Now, the award is given to one who's demonstrated initiative, resourcefulness, perseverance in adapting to MS. And we have a special guest here to present this year's Spirit Award. Please welcome to the stage, Brian Padgett. Brian, come on up here.
There you are. That's all yours.
Thanks.
You got it.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. I was living in Connecticut in 2001 when I was inadvertently invited to a woman's 30th birthday party. I was smitten with a birthday girl, along with every other single male in southeastern Connecticut. At her party, I asked her out on a date. She told me she was busy for the next 8 weeks. I thought to myself, great, I've got a date in 2 months. Rachel Padgett thought she had blown me off. But I was convinced this woman was going to be my wife. I knew that she was the one for me. I pursued her shamelessly, and we fell in love sitting on a beach overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. That's when Rachel told me that she had MS. Rachel shared with me how she mixed powdered Copaxone with water and drew it up into a needle and injected it into her triceps, quads, buttocks, belly, varying injection site from day to day. During the summer months, she would frequently go to bed at 6 or 7 p.m. because the Connecticut heat and humidity were so bad that her fatigue became overwhelming. In addition to her symptoms with MS, the side effects of her medications were always awful. I watched her struggle through them while she got her master's degree and then a job as a union organizer. We were living in New York City when Rachel called me at work. Her neurologist was sending her to the emergency room and straight to the hospital to be admitted indefinitely. Over the course of that morning, she became unable to walk. She needed an emergency course of steroid treatment and physical rehabilitation, extensive physical rehabilitation. We had kept Rachel's MS a secret from everyone but our closest friends and family. And in furtherance of this secret, we would come up with excuses to explain her absences from social events. I'd arrive alone at parties, and our friends would be assured by me that they should not take her absence personally. I never said anything about MS because it wasn't my secret to share. But after her exacerbation, everyone knew. It was out in the open for the first time. We had already decided to move to Seattle at that point, so we were leaving much of our New York lives behind. Seattle bound, we entered right back into our old habits. At that point, Rachel had, thankfully, graduated from a wheelchair to crutches to walking pretty well without assistance. And so on we went in Seattle as before. And then the falls began. The cuts, the bruises, the fractures. Over the next few years, it became clear that walking without assistance was simply no longer in the cards. She started using a cane, which raised many questions. So, after 14 years of our agreement to keep MS a secret, imagine my surprise when Rachel told me that she was going to start telling people the truth about her illness. And boy, did she ever. Rachel became determined to change the world by telling everyone, and I mean everyone, about her life with MS, her struggles, her challenges, and her triumphs. And now, 2 years later, here we are. I'm on stage in front of 300 people, introducing my wife as this year's MS Society's Spirit Award winner. Yeah. Well, I couldn't be more proud. I really couldn't. There's a lot of capes on the backs of people's chairs tonight, and I see my favorite comic book hero is Batman. I'm Batman. He's a billionaire philanthropist who spends his evenings doling out vigilante justice using his technology, his physicality, and his brain. Remind you of anyone? Yeah. No. He's not an alien. He was not bitten by some radioactive spider. He's just an exceedingly well-resourced, focused, and capable human being. Alfred Pennyworth is the Wayne family butler. He's also the keeper of Bruce Wayne's secret. When Batman returns home from a night of exacting vigilante justice, Alfred is there with a hot meal and dressings for his wounds. He makes sure that Bruce Wayne has everything that he needs to be Batman. Batman winds up on the cover of the Gotham Gazette, but he wouldn't be there without Alfred. Many of us here tonight have a lot in common with Alfred. We're the ones who love and support the superheroes. We help make it possible for them to be as heroic as they are. We are the wives, the husbands, the partners, the mothers and fathers, the siblings, friends. We don't have MS, but there's no question that we live with it. So what happens to Alfred when Batman decides to tell the world that he's really Bruce Wayne? I've thought a lot about this since Rachel began revealing her MS to the world. When she stopped keeping secrets, I no longer had to keep them either. I love Rachel Padgett more than anything, and I support her as much as I can and as much as I ever have. Supporting Rachel is one of the most important things that I do. It's often hard. It's often lonely. But being in this room tonight, open and honest about my life with my wife, who lives with MS, in a room full of people who, more than any other room I've been in before, can actually understand my experience, it's amazing. And it's a very strange feeling to be so open, to acknowledge the challenges that Rachel has faced, and also to admit that being by her side and supporting her has also been very difficult. I wouldn't do it any differently, but that doesn't mean it's been easy. So what happens to Alfred when Bruce Wayne tells the world he's been Batman all this time? Alfred gets to tell the world that he helps Bruce Wayne be Batman. And that's pretty cool, right? Yeah. So I would like to take a moment to honor all of the Alfreds in this room, because I know there are a lot of you. You, like me, live with one we love who lives with MS. We work to support them so hard as they work so hard to stay resilient, to make the world a better place in the face of the myriad obstacles that MS throws in our way. Rachel Padgett is amazing. For those of you who don't already know her, you're soon going to find out just how remarkable she is. I do everything that I can to support her so that she can focus less on her symptoms and more on being the amazing person that she is. I'm honored to be her Alfred, and I can think of no one else more deserving of this honor than she. Please welcome and meet my amazing wife and the recipient of the 2017 Spirit Award, Rachel Padgett.
Yikes. Hi. I am supremely grateful to be here tonight. And I have some things, important things I want to chat with you about. I want to chat with you about shoes, secrets, and shame. But before that, I have to do a few thank yous. The first is to my great team at the Swedish MS Center. Thank you. And my friends who are here tonight, oh my goodness. You are all beautiful, all of you. The Padgett family and the Reynolds family, thank you. I am lucky to have you all. And to my husband, my Alfred, Brian Padgett, you are my love, you are my best friend, you are my rock, and I love you. So I really am thrilled to be standing up here tonight. I'm kind of in my element. I could stay here all night, but I can't because when I'm done, I get to finally have that glass of bubbly, and then I get to party like a rock star, or perhaps a superhero. Because after all, tonight is about superheroes. Tonight is about breaking through MS, and as surprising as this still seems, tonight is about me. And while I am something of an expert on MS, and I am certainly an expert on me, I don't know much about superheroes. So tonight, I'm going to talk to you about three things about which I know a lot: shoes, secrets, and shame. Before my MS declined to where I am today, which, among other things, is that I have the balance of a drunk Bambi on ice, I loved wearing jaw-dropping, show-stopping, impossibly impractical, high-heeled shoes. Maybe a bit like this. A little less than 2 years ago, my pursuit of gloriously outrageous shoes came to a screeching halt. I fell in the garden and broke my foot. It was the third bone I had broken in 5 years. And that set off a chain of events in my life that dismantled every single part of it. The first thing it did was dictate new shoes, very different from these shoes. My new, safe, sensible shoes looked like this. I know, terror, horror, shame. I was far from thrilled by these new shoe restrictions, but my source of shame went way deeper than these waffle-stomping clodhoppers. My source of shame came from facing up to the fact that I needed help to walk. After 27 years of living with MS, I knew the time had come to finally take help. It was irresponsible and dangerous of me not to. For years, I had resisted the strong recommendations of my doctors to use a cane or a brace or a walker. The idea of using a mobility device was terrifying and shameful. That simply was not me. So now you know about the shoes, And you know about the shame. Well, what about that secret? Because of the shame I felt in having MS, I made it a secret, a great big secret, that I shared on only a need-to-know basis. And the truth was, you didn't need to know. In hindsight, this was short-sighted and myopic, and it took me a quarter of a century to figure out. I went along with my life. I prided myself on doing everything anyone else might. It might have taken me a bit longer, but I did it. I received not one, but 2 graduate degrees. I spent 2 6-month sabbaticals from uni in England, living on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. I immigrated to the United States. I spent a month backpacking around Peru, and I earned a master's degree. I built 2 political fundraising businesses, and I swam the 2.4-mile span of Lake Washington with some ladies in this room tonight. And all the while, I hid my disease from everyone but my closest family and friends. There was a small group of family and friends who knew, but I really kept them in the dark about what it meant. They were scared to ask me how I was doing. They didn't know if it was okay to mention my illness, and they had no idea how it felt to have MS, because I didn't tell them. How were they to understand MS beyond the stuff of nightmares and worst-case scenarios if the person they love who lives with the disease shuts them out of that conversation? And for those in my world who didn't know I had MS, which was pretty much everybody else, well, for 25 years, I hid who I was. And I hid the truth about the choices that MS forced me to make. I came up with elaborate excuses to explain the crippling and relentless fatigue. I hinted at a mysterious, elusive condition to explain the embarrassment of my cognitive failure. I talked about an old war wound to explain crutches or a wheelchair or a cane or a brace. And I wore black leggings and baggy tops to cover up any accidents caused by periodic incontinence. And when I did have to go to the hospital, it was usually because I was having a reaction to some medication. I could teach high-level university courses on shoes, shame, and whopping big secrets. Back to those terrible shoes. Yeah, right? So there I was in the summer of 2015 with my new shoes, an unfathomable sense of shame, and a monstrous secret. A secret that I knew I had to start sharing. How else was I to explain the fact that I now had to use a mobility device every day? Honestly, though, it was more of a lie than a secret, because for a quarter of a century, I had been actively betraying myself, my family, my friends, my colleagues, everybody I encountered. And the longer I told my lies, about a lie is like a snowball. The longer it is rolled, the larger it becomes. And the longer I told those lies, the more they fed on my insecurities, and the deeper my shame became. And I constantly questioned my experience with MS. And in the bleakest part of my mind were 2 terrifying questions. Are you doing all of this for attention? Do you really even have MS? These thoughts were inescapable and unyielding in their pursuit of me. Even when I was lying in a hospital bed, being pumped full of steroids and told I might not walk again, I still questioned myself and my diagnosis. After 25 years, my lie wasn't a snowball, it was a glacier. I had created an obstacle so big, so omnipotent, and so unyielding that I had absolutely no sense of the damage it was doing to me. and it was doing a colossal amount of damage to my psyche and to me. I spent more than half of my life lying about who I was, and I paid an incredibly high price. Part of the price I paid was that when faced with the terrifying prospect of having to tell the truth, I was convinced that my life would never be the same again. I saw myself evaporating along with my self-esteem, and I was truly afraid of who I would find on the other end. It is the single most difficult thing I have ever done. But I stand before you today as proof that MS does not always have to be about secrets and shame. My life did change when I told the truth. I felt unburdened, I felt empowered, and I no longer felt shame. My life changed for the better. And I have learned to make my MS a source of amazing strength and empowerment. And when I realized all that I had been missing by not being my true self, I jumped in with both feet, holding onto the guardrails, of course. One of the first calls I made was to the National MS Society. I said, "What can I do? How can I help?" And the wonderful team welcomed me with love and understanding. I trained as an MS ambassador. I organized an event to auction off all of those wonderfully impractical high-heeled shoes. The Walk in My Shoes fundraiser raised almost $1,000 and provided me with a cathartic and quite emotional way to set all those wonderfully impractical shoes free. I appeared in a National MS Society video about resiliency, and I'm working with my friends and colleagues in the nonprofit community to better understand and serve people with disabilities. I've written a lot about my journey, and I've been published in several places, and any day now, an interview that I did with Momentum magazine will be in circulation. And of course, I pretty much do anything that the team at the National MS Society asks me to do. Because every time I tell my story, it not only validates who I am, but it helps to shed light on the impact of this terrible, incurable disease. No one should live in shame because of who they are. I sincerely do not know how to convey how much my life has changed in the last 2 years. All the expressions that come to mind are cliched and hackneyed. If you had told me in August of 2015 that I would be standing in front, that 20 months later I would be standing in front of 300 people telling my MS story, I would have dismissed you as quite mad. I believed with every fiber of my being that nothing good could come from telling my truth. And I clung to that truth like my life depended on it. I certainly believed my quality of life did. Yet here I am, sharing my story very publicly with all of you. And now I literally tell anyone who asks. In fact, I tell people who don't ask. I carry my journey with MS as a badge of honor, as a testament to my strength and to my resiliency. I am proud of who I have become. There are no more secrets. There is no more shame. But what about those shoes? Well, after a year of enduring orthopedics, embarrassingly utilitarian shoes, I embarked upon a diligent and exhaustive search for shoes that were supportive, comfortable, but also stylish. Oh yeah. And guess what? I found them. Dozens of them. And of course, I had to buy them all. Well, I had to. I had to replace an entire shoe collection that had been 25 years in the making. And you know something? I don't miss my heels one bit. Thank you.
Rachel Paget. Thank you, Rachel. Real life hero, thanks for sharing your story. Superhero bravery as well. Now, Rachel, I know you got a plan for those shoes, but the Captain America on stilts wanted to buy the tall ones off you. So think about that. Turn a profit here tonight. That brings us to a very important part of the evening, the Hope Award. It is the National MS Society's biggest honor, and each year it is presented to one who has made significant contributions to the MS movement, bringing us ever closer to a world free of MS. Have a couple of guests who've come a long ways to be here. Please welcome Jenny and Camille O'Donnell all the way from Boston and Los Angeles to present the Hope Award.
This evening might have never happened had Mom and Dad decided to bring home another sibling instead of MS.
After Dad had been living with MS for many years, they finally decided to call a family meeting to tell us about it. We were two squirrely early adolescents. I was 12, Camille 15. Mom and Dad brought us around the green kitchen table for a serious discussion. And I, of course, jumped to the conclusion that I was getting that younger sibling that I'd always wanted to boss around. But instead, the meeting confirmed that our family had actually grown in a different way.
Definitely not in the way we'd assumed. Instead, it grew to include all of you. It grew to include hundreds of college students and hundreds more of their parents. It grew to include the entire National MS Society family. It grew because of my father's generosity and his even bigger heart. Our family has been infinitely expanded and enriched because our dad is, quite simply, a very, very good man.
A very, very good man who'd been living with MS since 1981. He was diagnosed at only 31 years old before I was born. Camille and I actually didn't register that he was navigating a confusing disease in a time before drug therapies. And while we were taken aback at that kitchen table when they told us, in hindsight, there were clues about his path navigating the disease all around us. Our dad exercised almost every single day. He still does, recording his mileage or his workout in his hard copy day timer. So this means that you can literally see how he got his cardio on May 15th, 1987, should you be curious. And this is not just about being health conscious. This is both a strategy and a tether to hope, both really important when you live with a disease that's both unpredictable and a trajectory of the disease that feels unknowable.
And while Dad, at least to us as kids, never seemed to us like he was struggling with MS, his optimistic and constructive way of facing the disease all started to make sense. And it wasn't just about the jogging. Jenny and I realized why we had participated in those MS readathons for so many years. Some of you may remember the readathons, where we'd get pledges from our relatives and friends based on the number of books we read. And we both read a lot of books. Dad involved us in his National MS Society philanthropy long before we ever knew the reason why.
And we stayed involved long after we became adults. When our parents founded the MS Scholarship Program for the Greater Northwest Chapter, we'd get to read the compelling and often heartbreaking scholarship application letters. And those letters made us feel and realize how fortunate and grateful we were that MS had taken an easier course in our dad's life. And to be honest, a scholarship program really kind of made sense.
For as long as we can remember, our parents always emphasized the importance of education in our own lives. As Mom and Dad always said, education gives you a choice, a gift you can always carry with you. It seemed only natural that they would want to further the education of young people whose lives had been affected by MS. Because of their vision, generosity, and of the many people that have joined them over the past 12 years, over 800 scholarship awards, totaling close to $2.5 million, have paved the way to college degrees for very deserving students.
And while Dad's support for the MS Society alone might make him worthy of this esteemed award, it's far from all he's done for the MS movement. He's been a dedicated board member, both for this chapter and for the national organization, helping to establish policies that propel the vision of the organization forward and ultimately to end MS.
And even though he'd never admit it, he's a constant inspiration to countless people whose lives have been turned upside down by MS. His compassion and empathy are boundless. By living his life with unbreakable spirit and a relentless devotion to helping others, he has embodied the hope that drives each of us to do more, to strive harder, and to give more generously to ensure that MS affects people's lives and not something that defines their lives.
So, no matter what course MS may take, whether you personally have the disease or whether you're the wife or the husband, the mother or the father, the sons or the daughters, we all need superheroes in our lives. We need that steady, persistent, positive presence, someone we can count on no matter what, someone who thinks of himself before he thinks of others. Who thinks of others before he thinks of himself.
Every single person who is part of the MS community has benefited over the past 3.5 decades from a Superman like no other. As little girls, Jenny and I always knew our father was super in so many ways. Now the rest of you do too. Please welcome a hero for us too, and us all, the 2017 Hope Award recipient, Jim O'Donnell.
Oh boy, after following Rachel and my daughters, I'm telling you, this is tough. Yeah, we're good, okay. So I have to admit, I feel a little less like Superman and more a little like an everyday Clark Kent this evening. Camille and Jen, you are my two Wonder Women, and I love you both so, so dearly. Thank you very, very much for your introduction. So important. Now, I have to admit, that when Patty said, you might get the Hope Award, I said, Hope Award, but it is absolutely the greatest honor of my life. I will never forget this evening and the thoughts that have gone into it. So most of you in this audience tonight have been personally touched by multiple sclerosis. Now, there are so many mysteries around this disease, but we all know that this is not a disease that only touches one person. It radiates through relationships. Mariette, my loving wife, loyal friend, and amazing mother, she's sitting down there, by the way, superhero for 42 years. Thank you very much for when I couldn't stand, you were always with me. In fact, that truth that MS affects families, not just one person, is why our family decided to start the scholarship program. My wife and I had always been believers in the power of education, but the idea of a scholarship program specifically supporting this community sparked in 2003. I was on the selection committee for the National MS Society. Awards went out to young adults with MS or parents who had MS. That year, National just gave out 36 scholarships nationwide. Think about that, for the entire country. Marriott and I read all the applications for scholarships. We shared at least a box or two along the way as we read the applications. Each and every candidate's case statements were so touching. From young adults who had MS to kids whose parents had MS, they were working jobs to support their families and at the same time getting good grades. Now, all of these young people deserved help, a chance to grow in their education. So what was the result of this review process? Not one candidate from the Pacific Northwest was selected. And keep in mind, this was in 2003. We were shocked, to say the least. Keep in mind that MS is more prevalent in the Pacific Northwest than almost anywhere on earth. How could we not put together a scholarship program to support young people in the Pacific Northwest? So our chapter program began in 2004 with the help of Patty Shepard Barnes. And for those of you who know Patty, she's the incredible leader of our chapter. And there's nothing that ever happens without the magic of Patty. Partnering with so many generous donors, the program was launched. It has awarded, as Jenny and Camille said, 865 scholarships since 2004. Later tonight, you will meet one of our very first scholars, but I'd like to take a moment right now to acknowledge the scholars along with their families who are here tonight. And I'd like to ask if the scholars and their families could please stand for a round of applause. You are the true superheroes at this dinner. Where are you? Yeah, we're so happy to have them here. The reality is heroes often travel in groups if blockbuster comic books tell you anything. As proud as I am to be part of the scholarship program, I am equally as proud to help recruit Patty Shepard Barnes, the CEO and Wonder Woman for the chapter. I was on the board of trustees with a handful of other folks that are here tonight when we wisely hired the superest hero of our chapter, Patty. Now, Patty has dedicated herself for 17 years to the chapter. Thank you, Patty, for being such an inspiring leader for the chapter. Thank you so much for your friendship and support. Where are you, Patty? Because of Patty's friendship and support, and the support of so many of you, my own personal journey with MS has been more hopeful, more tenacious. I've been so fortunate with my course of my relapsing remitting MS. I was diagnosed in 1981. At that time, no diagnosis, there was no medications at all. At that time, my diagnosis felt like staring into a dark room. So much unknowns, no treatments. I stand here today so grateful that what's happened in the last 36 years since I got MS. Today, there are 13 drug therapies and counting. We are learning more tactics each and every day on how to fight this disease. And I tell people, if you have to have this awful disease, this is a very good time to have it. So one might say I suffer from chronic optimism as well as a chronic illness. Yeah. Thank you. But as much as I resent the disease, I can't deny that it has shaped my life in many, many, many good ways. Without MS, I would never have met so many of you whose friendship I will treasure for the rest of my life. Without MS, I would never have had the opportunity to connect with so many brave people who have been newly diagnosed. As I tell those newly diagnosed, MS will never control me. In this battle of body and mind, I always will have the upper hand on the disease. Without MS, I would never have been able to connect with the young people in the scholarship program, so many who inspire me to face my disease tenaciously and positively. Now, I'd like to share a statement from a scholar, and this is a recent case statement that was written by a scholar, and she is a sophomore in college, has a 4-point GPA, and unbelievably, she works 32 hours a week while going to school. And I quote, "He steals, he's selfish, he's sneaky, he's ruthless, he uses guerrilla tactics, and he loves surrender. His name, multiple sclerosis. Physically, the fight with MS is most often a losing battle. However, the battle against MS cultivates the strongest soldiers. Victory is derived from the heart. Now, watching my mom battle MS has taught me the meaning of true grit, fearlessness, bravery, and having faith despite pain. And fearlessness is not about laughing in the face of fear. It is the willingness to fly when the pain is grinding you to the ground. Fearlessness is approaching a basketball gym with steep bleachers and climbing the stairs to watch your child play anyway. Fearlessness is hating injections but giving your shot every day. Fearlessness is setting forth down a road with a full awareness you might not walk back, but walking anyway." That's absolutely an incredible statement, and I was so, so touched. Thank you very much. I am so grateful for the inspiration of this young woman and for all of the scholars. Life always isn't easy with MS, no matter what the course of the disease takes. But I can attest to the fact that thanks to people like you who support the National MS Society, things are much better today than any time in the past. It is because you care, and that's why I am so grateful. Thank you so, so much, and please enjoy your evening.
Jim O'Donnell. There he is. Thank you, Jim, on behalf of the National MS Society. Thanks for all you've done to support the scholars and the kids over the years. Done some wonderful things. And Jim, you're much more than Clark Kent, because let's remember that he changes in a phone booth, and I bet your daughters don't even know what a phone booth is. It's a thing of the past. It's a relic. Congratulations. We do have some special folks and organizations, many of which are here in the room, that we'd like to thank tonight. Our superhero sponsors tonight, and because of their generosity, every dollar you donate tonight will go directly to the cause and support the National MS Society. They have helped cover all of the costs here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I hope you got that out of your system, because it says that I should ask you to please hold your applause until I list all of the sponsors. If you do break out into applause early, just know that you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Thank you. Now, our champion sponsors, Jim and Mariette O'Donnell, Jim and Gay Piggott, and the family of Dr. Buster and Mrs. Nancy Alvord. Citizens arrest. That's all right. Let's applaud the whole way through. We'll break the rules. Tonight's advocate sponsors, First Choice Health, Richard and Betty Hedreen family. There they are. Give them some love. Our pioneer sponsor, Virginia Mason. Thank you. This society would also like to extend a special thank you to Andy and Ron Mayers, Tolo Events, Kendra Scott Jewelry, and Three Rivers Winery. Now let's pretend we didn't applaud all the way through and do one big round of applause for all of those sponsors. Because of them, their generosity, everything we raise tonight will go directly to the cause. All right, we're going to release you to dinner for a little bit now. You can rub elbows, and once again, remember, those capes do turn around and become bibs. Enjoy dinner. We'll be back with more of our evening shortly. All right, welcome back. Here we go with another dose of spirit, hope, and inspiration. What do we think of that hand balancer? Wow. Pretty sure I could do that. Pretty sure. I actually minored in hand balancing at Washington State University. It was not hand, it was just balancing. If you've ever been to Wazoo, you know what I'm talking about. We hope you enjoyed dinner. We are approaching arguably the most important portion of the evening, and here to help us pave the way, David DeBay was actually in the very first group of MS Society scholars, and now he actually volunteers on the Scholarship Selection Committee. Please welcome to the stage in superhero fashion, David DeBay. Here he comes. You don't have to hurry, the music's cool.
After that last presentation, my wife was trying to convince me to do a somersault up onto the stage. I was considering it. So they say MS is a prime of life disease. For me, it's been a nearly all my life disease. At a time when preparing for the next soccer game and deciding who to take to prom should have been my biggest concerns, I was getting weekly injections of Avonex, going through debilitating rounds of steroid treatments, and trying to ward off the depression that accompanied an MS diagnosis at just 16. It was 2001, and MS was so rare in teenagers that the doctors initially thought I had a brain tumor. I know my terrified parents were relieved to initially hear that it was multiple sclerosis. But of course, the fear of living with MS quickly replaced that momentary relief. Both my mother and father were high school teachers in Port Angeles. Their love and concern for me took two very different paths. My late father, sadly, focused on what I might never be able to do, on the uncertainty of my future, on the frequent relapses I suffered, rather than on the times I felt just like every other kid. My mom, on the other hand, who's sitting here in the audience. Love you, Mom. She took positive control by researching everything she could about the disease. And that, of course, led us to the National MS Society. We were introduced to MS navigators who guided us toward resources to help pay for my expensive therapies. And my mom also discovered something brand new 15 years ago. A scholarship for kids who have MS or whose parents live with the disease. Thanks to the visionary Jim O'Donnell and to supporters like you. Thank you, Jim. I became a grateful member of the very first class of MS scholarship recipients. For the next 4 years, my MS scholarships enabled me to attend a small, prestigious liberal arts college in California, Pomona College. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my career. I just knew I wanted to be happy. And one of those top 20 best lists ranked Pomona College as the happiest. I'd found my school. I was still wavering between feeling invincible and hopeful like most teenagers and dealing with the fear and depression from frequent relapses. The product, I guess, of my parents' polar opposite outlooks on life. Still, deep down, I had this abiding feeling that I was going to be okay. Pomona was the perfect school to help me stay focused on the positive. I majored in philosophy for the fame and money. And through the quirks or karma of fate and to follow a girlfriend, I moved to New York City for a year and began working in hedge fund due diligence. Pretty standard trajectory. When that relationship ended, I returned to Seattle, once again depressed and a little aimless. But then something amazing happened. I met the love of my life. Lauren was the only woman on the online dating site that I ever messaged. Worked. And I knew by our second date that I wanted to marry her. Our relationship was easy and comfortable from the get-go. And Lauren is kind and caring, beautiful and brilliant and way out of my league. She was working on her PhD in paleontology at the University of Washington when we met, and she encouraged me to pursue my MBA at the UW as well. That degree helped me earn my amazing job with one of the best business consulting firms in the world, Point B, which also happens to be one of the National MS Society's most loyal benefactors. After just a couple weeks of dating, I told Lauren about my MS. 9 months after we first met, we exchanged wedding vows. And Lauren told the world that I would never have to walk this journey alone, that she will always be by my side. We recently bought our first house, and 3 months ago, 11 weeks ago tomorrow actually, we had our first child, a baby boy, Finley. And tonight is actually our first big day night since he was born, and we just got a text from my sister that he's taking the bottle. So that was really the big anxiety of tonight. He's taking the bottle, the rest is easy. I love you, Lauren. When I was diagnosed as a terrified 16-year-old boy, I remember so distinctly asking the doctor, "Is there a cure?" And I will always remember, he said, "No, but there absolutely will be in your lifetime." And every day since that day, I've wondered what it would be like to be liberated from all the fear and uncertainty. Sometimes I allow myself to fantasize about what it might be like to wake up one morning, kiss my wife and now my son, pour a cup of coffee, open up the New York Times app on my phone, and see the big, bold front page headline that reads, "Cure to MS finally discovered." And the first line of that story will read, "Thanks to the generosity of everyday people who cared so deeply about the men and women and teenage kids who live with MS, and about everyone who loves them. Thanks to all those people who donated to support research, the world is finally free of MS forever." My vision of that day can be a reality, but only if you donate here tonight. The next breakthrough is just around the corner, waiting for the resources to make it happen. And while the National MS Society puts your donations to use, working valiantly towards that day, your gifts here tonight will also make life easier for people who are living with MS right now and who benefit from all the programs and services the Society offers. Programs like the scholarships that set me on my path toward happiness today. You have that power, that superpower, to take control over something that robs so many of us of our control over our lives. You have the power to make a supersized donation here tonight, to make life better for scared little kids like I was back then, to offer hope to new fathers like I am today, to lead us toward a new breakthrough tomorrow, and one day very soon to a cure. Thank you for giving generously tonight, and thank you for being my superheroes.
David Dubé. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Well, folks, this is the moment. It's my honor to give you the opportunity to respond to David's most eloquent and heartfelt appeal. That is, after all, why we are here. With any luck, we'll cancel this event very soon. There'll be no need for it. That is ultimately why we're here. You can help the MS Society work towards a vision of finally ending MS by raising your bid cards tonight. You know how this works. This is where we're going to ask you to give from the heart just for the sake of giving. Maybe you came in here with a number in mind, how much you were going to donate. Hopefully our friends and the wine donors have influenced you to give a little bit more. You won't regret it, I promise. We're going to change lives here tonight. We're going to change history as well. And in case you missed that supersized announcement, we do have some real-life superheroes with us here, conveniently in the front row, with a wonderful matching gift offer. For every gift, for every donation, for every dollar you donate tonight, the Albert, Gerlich, and Rhodes families, we're going to match that gift up to $200,000. Superheroes. We want to take full advantage of that. So hopefully you've got your bid cards out in front of you. Everybody make sure you find those. When you hear a level that sounds comfortable or hopefully uncomfortable for you, you're going to put that bid card high. We'll call them off, and we're going to add that up, and we're going to change some lives here tonight. We're going to start with a brave number. We're going to look to the sky where so many superheroes fly. We're going to start way up there where the sun will be eventually in a couple of months. I have the pleasure of working at King 5, and a couple of our meteorologists are here. They're right over there, and they said that this rain and this gross weather, it's going to clear up about August, so don't worry. It's coming. Hang tight. So we're going to look to the heavens, and we're going to start way up there and see if there's any heroes at that level. We're going to start at the $50,000 level. Maybe that's what you have in your pocket right now. If anybody would like to raise their bid card at the $50,000 level, we have one right here, ladies and gentlemen. Flip that card around for me. It is number 241 at $50,000. 241. Thank you.
Thank you, Bo and Julie Gould.
Thank you so much. Anybody else like to join us at that $50,000 level? It'll feel real good. Gonna make a big dent, a lot of research, a lot of medicine. You couldn't even buy 1 gallon of gas for Big Bertha for $50,000. So let's put that money to better use here tonight. Well, good news, not only do we have that one, but we have another additional gift from an anonymous superhero, probably out fighting crime right now at the $50,000 level. An anonymous bidder, thank you. And it gets better because to make it dramatic down front, we have another at 221. $50,000.
Thank you so very much, Jim, Marriott, Jenny, and Camille O'Donnell for the college scholarships.
Looking more and more like Clark Kent. Way to go. Thank you. Wow. We are going to cut that number in half, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a discount right now. $25,000 is the level we are going to move to now. Some examples of what we can do with that money. Would anybody like to join us at the $25,000 level? If so, raise that bid card and we'll call it off right now, gladly. 25, there we got one. 475 at $25,000.
Thank you, Tom and Stephanie Barden.
Wow. We got another one here. 428 is also joining us at $25,000.
Thank you, Mike and Liz Hilton.
All right. Anybody else want to join us at that $25,000 level? Thank you. Round of applause. We doubled up on that one. We love that. Now we're going to move down to a very comfortable, you'll hardly know it's gone, $10,000 level. At the $10,000 level, Let's see how many bid cards we can get in the air. Look at this. Here they go. 318.
Thank you, Ray Hecox and Cynthia Huffman.
Thank you, Ray. Past honoree. 319 also joining us at the
Thank
10,000.
you, Jim Rose and Eric Gutierrez.
Thank you, Jim. 246 also joining us at $10,000.
Thank you, Rosh and Julie Case.
330 is also joining us at $10,000.
Thank you, Paul Wyckoff.
Let's stay right there at 300 joining us at 10,000.
Thank you, Cliff and Anna Burrows.
We only got to go back a few here. 257 also at 10,000. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lou and Roseanne Ross.
Anybody else want to join us at that $10,000 level? Round of applause for all of those folks. Look at that. That's going to add up nicely. All right, now we're going to cut that in half and go down to the $5,000 level. Maybe that's the level you're comfortable at. Who would like to join us by raising their bid card at the $5,000 level? Here we go. We've got several of them. I'm going to come out here. 227. Thank you. 249. Thank you. 239 is going to join us. Thank you. 317 is going to join us, all at $5,000. 257, thank you. 258, thank you. 306, thank you. 303, thank you. Trying not to step on any capes. 355, thank you. 358, thank you. 294 is also joining us at $5,000, thank you. Anybody else want to join us in this applause break at the $5,000 level? Round of applause for our $5,000 donors, a lot of them. And I was handed a note on the way in saying that there is another anonymous friend, another superhero who wanted to throw in $5,000, couldn't be here, probably out solving a caper right now. So we're going to add one more to that at the $5,000 level. Wow. All right, now we're going to take that $5,000, cut that in half. I went to State College. That's $2,500 level. Maybe this is the level you had in mind. Here we go. Here comes the bid cards at $2,500. 223 is joining us. 230, thank you. 251, thank you. 337, thanks. 307, thank you. 338 is in. 302, thank you. Anybody else want to join us? Here we go. 293, 297, all at the $2,500 level. Anybody else? Here we go. 295 will sustain the applause. 285, thank you. All of these at $2,500, taking full advantage of that match. Anybody else want to join us at that $2,500 level, or we will move on? Thank you so much. We love that. I think I know what's going to happen here at the $1,000 level. $1,000, you won't even know it's gone. Who wants to join us at that $1,000 level? Look at this. Here we go. You guys are making it dramatic, like a superhero movie. 219, 207, thank you. 209, 275, 280, 281, 288, thank you. 289, thank you. 296, thank you. All at $1,000. 304, 301, thank you. 356, 345, 346, 308, 339, thank you. 315, 310, 247, thank you. They both want to give. 247 is going to do twice, thank you. 314 is joining us at $1,000. 319, thank you. 334. Thank you. 333. 408. Here we go. 254. We got you. 312. All at $1,000. 286. Gotcha. Thank you. 232. 234. 242. Thanks. 236. Twice for 236. Thank you. 240 and 239. All at $1,000. Anybody else want to join us? You just didn't want to hang your hand that long. I understand. Thank you so much to our $1,000 donors. We're going to cut that in half and do $500. Maybe that is the sweet spot for you. $500. Raise those bid cards up now. We'll call them off fast and furiously. 2, 3, 5. Thank you. 2, 4, 5. Thank you. 3, 2, 8. Got you. Sorry. I haven't had any wine. 2, 4, 4. Thank you. 3, 2, 2. 2, 5, 5. Thanks. All at $500. 2, 2, 8. 2, 2, 4. 2, 6, 1. 2, 6, 0. 3, 0, 9. 3, 4, 3. 2, 6, 2. 2, 6, 4. 3, 1, 5. Got you. 3, 4, 0. Got you. Gotcha. 3, 8, 7. Thank you. 3, 5, 9. Thank you. All of these at 500. 2, 1, 0. Thank you. 2, 7, 7. Joining us. 2, 7, 4. Thank you. 2, 0, 1. 2, 0, 0. 2, 8, 4. Thank you. 2, 8, 2. Thanks. 2, 9, 1. Anybody else want to hang that bid card at that $500 level? Thank you so much. Wonderful. Now we've got 2 remaining levels, and we'd hope to get 100% participation from the room. And don't feel like you can't give again. Maybe you just found some loose change. Maybe you carry around hundreds. Let's do it. 250 is our next level. $250 level. And here we go. 2, 2, 2. 2, 6, 8. 2, 1, 0. 4, 1, 3. Thank you. 209. Thank you. 205. 204. And 206. Thank you. 376. Gotcha. 367. Thank you. 362. 353. 352. Thank you. 256. 248. 321. 231. They're doing it twice. 231 twice. Thank you. All at $250. Got you. 320. Thank you. 327. 329. 324. 411. Thank you. 330. And 341. All of these are the $250 level. Anybody else want to join the party at the $250 level? We have but one level remaining. And it's going to get very dramatic. Now, as I mentioned, just because you gave doesn't mean you can't give again. Now, our last and final level is the $125 level, and there is a twist. If you raise your bid card at this $125 level, we're going to collect your bid card from you, and that will be your entry into a fun little giveaway we're doing here. So you raise your bid card at the $125 level. We're going to come collect it. We're going to put all of those bid cards in a little hopper. Then we're going to draw and see who the winner will be of a very coveted bottle of fancy whiskey that soon will not be available. This is the Wetland Winter Single Malt limited edition release from a local jewel, Westland Distillery. This is fancy stuff, judged as the best single malt in America, named Craft Producer of the Year by Whiskey Magazine, recently bought by Remy Cointreau, by the way, so they will no longer be producing these small batches very soon. So this is exclusive. It's delicious. It's that Westland Winter Single Malt. I drank a bottle of this on my way over. You're going to love it. Here we go. $125. Raise your bid card, and we're going to collect them, and then we're going to give away that bottle of booze. 220. You can win. 220. I'm feeling it. 220. So they're going to have to come collect these fast and furiously. Don't, hang on for a second. Hang on. Don't collect the bid cards yet. If you collect the bid cards, we don't know how much money we've made. You're going to just count them all at the end? All right, just stick them all up in the air. We're just going to collect them. We're going to make this fast and furious. So we're just going to collect. I'm going to help. We're going to collect. We're just going to collect them from you. This will be your buy-in. $125, hopefully worth a whole lot more in the booze department. So stick that bid card in the air. We will collect it. We'll charge you just $125. We're going to mix them up. We'll find out who's going to get that Westland whiskey. And the good news is, the longer it takes us to collect these bid cards, the more valuable this whiskey becomes. It is already aged since we started this. They are collecting them now. They're going to put them into a National MS tote bag. And we're going to pull one winner. In fact, David DeBay, come back on up here. We're going to have you help do the honors. She's taking the bottle. You're good. Date night. You come on up here. We're going to have you draw the winner to find out who's going to take this home. So you are going to draw out one of these bid cards. And the winner is La La Land. No, it is 348. 348. You've just changed that man's life forever. You want to take him that? He is going to bring you this. 348 was the winner. 348 is the winner. We're going to give you this right now. The Westland whiskey is on its way. Mark Houghton. Way to go, Mark. He's got that whiskey. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this would be the time to take out your phones. You can get ready to take a picture of the screens up here as we get ready to find out just what an impact you have made here tonight. We want you to take a photo. We want you to post it. We want you to let people know that you're here tonight. And we want to let them know about the wonderful contributions you have made. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to find out what you accomplished here tonight in this room, what you gave just for the sake of giving? On behalf of the National MS Society and the superheroes here in the room tonight, all of you together just now raised $873,100. You did that. Way to go. We are that much closer in a world free of MS. The night is far from over. Grab a glass of champagne, grab your cape, hit the dance floor. We have got a superhero-size after party with a DJ for you. Thank you so much for being here. Hashtag End MS in all of your posts. A world free of MS. Thank you for being here tonight. We'll see you next year.